Okay, everyone, so today I'm going to do a very brief part of how to take care of your betta fish if you're like a beginner. So you want to make sure that your betta fish is healthy, and good ways to make sure that your betta fish is healthy is if they don't have torn fins, if they have very bright colors, and the best way to make sure is if their eyes aren't cloudy. You want to make sure that their eyes are nice and clear, and occasionally betta fish will have blue eyes, but the most common eye color is black, but you just want to make sure that their outer layer is nice and clear. Sometimes it's hard to see if their eyes are clear, but it's not that hard, but depending on where your betta fish is at the time. Yeah, I'm just going to stop talking about that because I don't know where I was going. Next, you want to when you bring your betta fish home, you want to make sure that they have good sized tank. They can live in a 1.5 gallon tank or larger. You just want to make sure that in a 1.5 gallon tank that it's not too overcrowded. You want to make sure that there's probably just about one plant and one good size decoration, I guess you could call it, or not a plant. You could use plastic plants, silk plants, or live plants, but live plants is sort of hard because in smaller tanks you want a filter, and for the filter you want to make sure that it's not a strong filter, because betta fish do not like strong filters with their long fins. They will start fin biting if their filter is too strong. And you also want to make sure that the heater is properly working. And usually the betta fish like either from 72 to 82 degrees, 2 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, and then yeah, you just want to make sure that they have plants and decorations and all that, because they like to sleep. And they don't really like being out in the open, especially when you come home with a brand new betta fish. You also want to make sure that you have some gravel. I have very little gravel in this tank, but little gravel is better than no gravel at all. So yeah. You also want to have water conditioner. Water conditioner is very vital when you bring a betta fish home. You want to make sure that you don't have too much, and you want to make sure that you don't have too little. Usually on the bottle it says how much you should put in per gallon or per liter. So I have the Aqua Save Plus. Whoa, like the thing moved. That was interesting. So I do use that. There is another specific brand of water conditioners just for betta fish. I do like using that, but I like using this too because it's a bigger bottle, and I don't have to buy a ton of small little bottles. So I just definitely prefer that. Another thing about betta fish is their food. You could feed them pellets, freeze-dried bloodworms, peas, like actual human peas, potatoes, and cucumber. Those are the ones that I know of. I'm sure that there are many others out there that you could feed your fish. The human food is not for a daily diet. That's more as of like a treat and to help their immune system. And pellets are usually the best way to go when feeding a betta fish on a daily diet. Feeding your betta fish on a daily diet, some betta fish can only have a couple of pellets from every other day. My betta fish on my left can eat up to 6 pellets a day. I'll feed him 3 in the morning and 3 at night. And then my betta fish on the right, I can only feed him 3 every other day. It all depends on your betta fish. So when you test out when you're feeding your betta fish, you really want to be careful and not to overfeed them. When you overfeed them, it is very hard to get them to survive, depending on how severe it is. Betta fish do have many swim bladder problems. Swim bladder is, in my opinion, the most horrific disease to watch. And I wouldn't really call it a disease, but it's terrible to watch because your betta fish is just usually either floating at the top, like floating and bobbing up at the top where it's where its back is almost like out of the water, or your betta fish is like completely on the floor, just laying down and breathing very heavily. It is very traumatic and very sad to watch. I've gone through it many times in my past due to my vacations and people coming over and feeding the betta fish and not knowing how much to feed them, even though I specifically tell them to feed this betta fish a certain amount and this betta fish a certain amount. Another thing about betta fish is you want to teach them tricks, because you want to keep them entertained. You don't necessarily have to teach them tricks either. You just want to make sure that they're entertained. You want to make sure that your betta fish aren't bored. A good way is to, when you clean your tank, just reorganize the plants and everything. Another good way is to make little things, or just have little things around. Currently, I'm using the end of a fishing net, fishing net, to get the betta fish to go through the hole. That's a good way to train your betta fish. Another good way is to train your betta fish to flare on command. I haven't really gotten to that part yet. And another good one is to teach your betta fish to jump out of the water. Sometimes this is okay and sometimes this isn't. It depends if you have a lid. I definitely suggest having a lid, so then you don't get any like dust in your tank or anything, and to make sure that your betta fish doesn't jump out of the water, which I have had 2 betta fish jump out of the water on me. It was very scary and I was in a ton of shock, and you just want to make sure that you don't harm the betta fish. And if you could see, there's a circular black thing in the corner. I just made that out of some black mesh. The betta fish on the left, he really enjoys this, but he definitely has fallen out of the routine of that circular tube thing. He doesn't really seem to enjoy it as much anymore, because I think he's gotten a little bored of it because he's played with it too much. So the betta fish do like that. You can always make little things for your tank, and a lot of questions, not that I get, but a lot of other people get, are tank mates. I know that this is such a sudden change from decorations and making sure they're entertained to tank mates. So tank mates, it all depends on your betta fish, if your betta fish is friendly or not. I do have guppies, and on my right side of this tank in this video that you could see, he is okay to go with my guppies. He will flare at them occasionally, but for the most part he hasn't nipped at them, he hasn't chased at them. But on the left side of his tank, he has showed his beard, and he has flared at them many, many times and chased after them, so he is not allowed to go on that side of the tank. And on the right side, I will allow him to go a whole 24 hours in that tank, but I just don't because of the strong filter. You can see right now that they're flaring at each other, that is actually good for the betta fish to do, because it keeps them entertained, like I said earlier, to flare on command. But like you just saw, that was just for a couple of seconds. That was for just about no longer than 5 seconds. I could probably be definitely wrong because I'm not good at counting seconds in my head. So yeah, see, they are no longer flaring at each other. It was good for a short amount of time. Do not make your betta fish over flare, I guess you could say. Back to the tank mates thing. I'm sorry I get off track so much. Betta fish are good with mollies, guppies. They can have snails. Sorry, I just had to burp again. You can have them with many things. I don't have my betta fish with any other type of fish. That's just me, because I think it's too much work. And I like seeing the betta fish by themselves. That's just my personal opinion of the way that I take care of them. And female betta fish usually are better to put them with tank mates. they're usually a lot better, and you can form a female betta fish sorority. And I need to hurry up really fast because I'm running out of time. So, usually consists anywhere from 5 to 10 female betta fish. You have to start it out with 5 and no less, or else they will fight and bicker and they will bite each other's fins off, and you really don't want that. Now on to breeding. Male and female betta fish, they do breed. They form bubble nests, and if you could sort of see up in the corner, like right there, he has formed a little bit of a bubble nest. Male betta fish do that, form bubble nests just when they're happy and even with a mate isn't present. If you're going to breed betta fish, you want them to have a 10-gallon tank, because they can spawn anywhere from 50 to 100 fry. Not all of them will survive. I'm not going too into depth with the breeding because I haven't bred any betta fish and I haven't really gone into too much research. Also, if you can see in this video, I have a divider. This divider I do not suggest because, like you saw earlier, that they can see through it, and they don't see through it very often, but they still do see through it. I am going to leave a link in the description for a better divider for a tank. It's on eBay. Alexandra's Pets. I will also leave a link to her awesome tank that she made in the description. And that's all that I really have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it was very informational. I tried to get straight to the point because I don't like it when people just talk on and on and on about their betta fish. So yeah, I hope you liked the video. Please let me know of any names of the betta fish right here. Still don't have any names that I really like. He has a purple tint to it with like some tan to it, and he's also a double tail. That's all that I really have for you today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day.